VoyMonk video voice vlog. One of the things I don't think I talk about enough on this channel are some of my favorite pieces of content or things that I watch when I'm on YouTube. I have mentioned it, but I'm going to try to make a point of doing it more often, specifically. One of the kinds of vlogs or one of the kinds of contents that I like on YouTube are food reviews. I like food reviews. I like all kinds of reviews. Well, I don't say all kinds, but I like different kinds of reviews. But I like specifically food reviews because, I, like anyone else, has to eat at some point. Maybe a little too much. But point is, I do like food reviews. The problem is that usually that I kind of run into, and I find it kind of confusing, is that sometimes they have different rate of scales, like 1 to 5, anything like 1, 1.5, 1, and then they just have decimal points and stuff. They add different whatever. Sometimes it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then other times they'll rate it like A plus, A minus, and stuff. I don't know particularly off the top of my head if anyone specifically does that last one, but anyways, never mind. One of my favorite, I said, reviewers is a guy named Review Bra, or Report of the Week. I think I'm saying that correct. If hopefully that doesn't get to him, or I don't know, whatever. He didn't find out about it and stuff like that. And I messed up his channel name, but a Report of the Week, I believe, is his name. He does like a little ham radio thing down in Florida or something like that. But anyways, he's been around a while. He does pretty good reviews, and he's honestly one of probably the most delightful individuals that are on YouTube. But there are some things I don't necessarily get. The most diplomatic way that I can say that about some of his reviews, because on the one hand, when he does reviews, sometimes he'll do it in a way that makes me think as though he's trying to be a little too polite about some of the bad reviews that he does. And sometimes he kind of tends to be a little bit repetitive. And I know that is the pot calling the kettle black, but nevertheless, when I say repetitive, sometimes I think in his attempt to try to be as objective as possible, he sometimes kind of tends to be a little too generous. Like, for example, if I'm rating something on a scale of 1 to 10, I could almost promise you that there's almost no way that or almost a very unlikely way that I'm going to ever review something that's a perfect 10. But by the same token, that's probably going to be very rare that I'll rank something a 1 or is a 0 if that kind of rates. 1 to 10 or whatever. But nevertheless, the point is that those should be kind of rare scores. So sometimes when I'm watching reviews, and I'm not picking on just Report of the Week, but sometimes you'll get people that'll give scores that just really don't make a whole lot of sense, right? They'll say how bad or good something is. And the other thing I don't like is when price is taken into account. I know that price can be a way of reviewing something, and I think it should stand on its own. But I'd say whether you like something or not really isn't, at least in my mind, specifically tied to whether it's good or bad, right? Just because something is $1, for example, like with Report of the Week, it's like, well, it's $1. So it's, don't go into it with high expectations. It's like, yeah, but it's still my $1. I still spent it. So therefore, I'd really like to have an honest and genuine opinion about whatever it is you're eating. I don't want you to be giving it a 5 or an 8 because it's only $1. But by the same line, just because something might be overpriced and $100 for a steak, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad steak. It just not necessarily mean it's a good enough steak to want $120 for it. At least that's what I'm thinking. And I said, no offense and criticisms to them, but like I said, I do like reviews, and like I said, I don't know. Maybe that's just one of those things that I don't really quite get. If you're listening to this, if you like reviews or content, let me know what you think. Until next time, take care.